Yeah, so, Petey and Hughes, right? We have training camp. It starts a little bit later this week, and Petey and Hughes are not here. They're not signed. They're currently still RFAs in the Vancouver Canucks system. Elias Pettersson, eligible for an offer sheet. Quinn Hughes, he is not. Both of these guys are in pretty interesting situations, and we have ourselves a few updates. So, what we're going to be doing is going over onto Specters Hockey because their edition from today's version of the article goes over a recent piece by Thomas Drance and Rick Dhaliwal on The Athletic. Because The Athletic is paid for material, we're not going to be going over and showcasing that here. What we're hearing about Elias Pettersson, Quinn Hughes negotiations ahead of Canucks training camp is the piece. The link will be in the description if you do have The Athletic. But the recent edition of Specters Hockey goes over the scoop over here. Drance and Rick Dhaliwal cited sources in Pettersson's camp saying that the young center has departed Vancouver and flown to Michigan to be with Hughes. Both are close friends and are represented by agents Pat Brisson and J.P. Barry. The two will remain in Michigan preparing for the upcoming season while awaiting a resolution in negotiations. And normally this wouldn't really be that big of a deal. Like, on paper, it's nothing, right? Hughes is in Michigan, him and Jack bought a house together, and Petey is going over to Michigan to train and work out with him and all that. It's two buds getting along and doing some athletic stuff together, right? Well, it is kind of an interesting thing. Mostly because we had ourselves the news when Petey came back to Vancouver. Oh my goodness, he's here in Vancouver. He's around, you know? You don't usually see players who are unsigned RFAs head over to the cities wherein they're actually playing unless they live there full time, which Pettersson does not. He's Swedish, right? He's in Sweden. So, for guys like Brady Tkachuk, he's in St. Louis. For guys like Kirill Kaprizov, he's in Russia. We had ourselves a whole bunch of news about Pettersson coming back to Vancouver, only to hear that the news was just kind of bogus and that he's on his way over to Michigan now to train with Hughes. Furthermore, we had ourselves another thing. This is a quote from J.P. Barry. He did an interview with the Swedish website Expressen talking about the Elias Pettersson contract negotiations, and he said, "I can't say we're getting any closer. Right now, we, their party of agents, are waiting for a reaction to a suggestion that we have made to the Canucks. We're talking to each other, but the opinions on what the contract should look like differ. Money and term go hand in hand, and right now we can't seem to agree on either one of them. Elias Pettersson, he is cool. Of course, he's continuously getting information on what's happening, and right now he's just preparing as good as he can for this season." And I'll tell you what, man. J.P. Barry, you wanted to get out there and get some quotes into the media that would actually get people starting to panic a little bit? This is kind of it. Let's head back over onto Specters Hockey and talk about what it was that Drance and Dhaliwal wrote about in their Athletic piece. It is expected that the Vancouver Canucks will sign Petey first because Hughes isn't eligible to receive an offer sheet. While the threat of an offer sheet is remote, the club doesn't want to take any chances. Of the two, Hughes could be the more likely to ink a long-term deal. The Canucks have up to $16 million of cap space if necessary to sign both, but they would ideally prefer $14.5 to $15 million. Remember, the Canucks do have some guys who are going to be LTIR'd, which would allow them to add some more salary over the salary cap. Michael Furlan's the big one. We'll see what happens with Tyler Mott, because it was announced that he's not going to be ready for the season either. But still, this does indeed play into the Petey and Hughes contract negotiations because it kind of sets the framework as to what the Vancouver Canucks are allowed to deal with here. There's also speculation that whatever Kirill Kaprizov gets with the Minnesota Wild will indeed affect how much Pettersson receives from the Canucks. However, that's considered remote within the industry. The Wild face their own unique salary cap crunch in the near term, so inking Kaprizov to a bridge deal has little benefit to them. The comparables for Pettersson that are established here could be bridge deals signed by Tampa Bay Lightning center Brayden Point, that's $6.75 million AAV, and New York Islanders forward Matt Barzal, $7 million AAV. And so if you're looking for the ultimate update, there hasn't really been anything that has been happening aside from Pettersson coming to Vancouver and then leaving to go work out with Hughes in Michigan. But that in itself, that inactivity, is also something of concern for most people. We'd spoke about what J.P. Barry said in his interview with the Swedish media. This is what Pat Brisson, the other guy in the agency, said, talking to Rick Dhaliwal. "We are working on deals for Pettersson and Hughes. We talk with the Canucks every other day. We talked last week and over the weekend. The goal is to get this done." Now, this tweet is from earlier today, and I think it is fairly interesting to acknowledge because Jim Benning did say in a Sportsnet interview with Ian McIntyre, we talk every day or every second day. We've got a week before main camp starts, so we have time to get it done and get these guys in camp. That was 5 days ago when he said this, or at least when the article which in he said it was published. And so now it's September 21st. It's no longer every day, it's every other day now established. And yeah, I mean, they're not here yet, you know? I mean, I get it. They're not really allowed to be here because they don't have contracts, they don't have the benefits and all that towards being actual employees of the team. They're currently unsigned, so it means they're unemployed. But it is kind of strange that training camp starts so soon, and Jim Benning's adamancy, you know? He was saying, yeah, we feel like we're going to be able to do it. But now, I mean, if everything goes right, you're looking at guys coming into training camp, let's say a day or two late. Maybe just barely on time if you really rush things out. I hope Elias Pettersson and Quinn Hughes sign at the end of today, because that would make this entire video for naught. However, I will say if that does not happen, if the Vancouver Canucks are not able to get a deal done, hey, it's good that Petey is in Michigan with Hughes, because you'd rather have Petey training with the Hughes family, because that family has produced so many high-quality NHL caliber talents. The Hughes parents are hockey people, they know what it takes and what it means to be able to train in a proper NHL fashion, and so I don't doubt that the Hughes family would have access to facilities and actual good training materials. So if there's any place in the world that Petey should probably be if he wants to be training away from Vancouver Canucks camp, it's probably out there with the Hughes family in Michigan. So even though he is no longer here, Elias Pettersson still is getting those reps in, most likely, getting his body prepared for the NHL season. Brock Boeser actually came out here in a piece in an interview, and he said himself, just going through the RFA signing process, I wouldn't say I would be concerned. I just think, as everyone knows, it's just about finding a fair deal for both sides. I think that's what everyone strives to do, is find a fair deal. So whether it's in a day or two or in a week, I think they're going to find a deal that's fair for both sides, and I'm pretty confident that they'll be here before the first game of the season, so I don't think we need to worry about that. And boy oh boy, I hope we don't need to worry about that. I hope we don't have ourselves a William Nylander 2.0 situation with Toronto, because that was one of the ugliest things that we had seen in hockey in the past few years. Would you imagine this Vancouver Canucks team playing until December without Petey and Hughes? We have a full 82-game season right now. If the Canucks go out there and they play without Pettersson or Hughes in the lineup, can you imagine how bad this team is going to be? Like, I know we have some good players aside from Petey and Hughes. Bo's good, Brock is good, Miller, Podkolzin should be good at least. Connor Garland, I'm excited to see him. We have a lot of names, but Petey and Hughes are the two best guys in the team, man. If we actually have ourselves a William Nylander thing, that would be scary. And it's kind of nuts because, oddly enough, with the Canucks and the team they have right now and the team that they have assembled and the roster and the cap and all that stuff, Petey and Hughes have more leverage than Nylander did. Like, I saw this pop up on the subreddit, the Canucks subreddit that is, and I was like, huh, that actually is a really big point. Nylander with the Leafs had himself a $7 million AAV deal, and we took a few months after the season started to get there. During this time frame, it's not even like he was the best player on Toronto either. You still had Matthews, you still had Marner. Petey and Hughes are the best players on the Canucks, and they both need contracts represented by the same agency, and now it's apparent that they're only talking every other day. Training camp starts later this week, man! Ooh, I don't think we're going to see Hughes and Petey here for training camp anytime soon. I mean, I'd love to be proven wrong, get the contracts done right away, get them done tonight. But either way, this has been your update on Petey and Hughes and Pettersson's situation of where he is in the world. He's no longer in Vancouver. He was only here for a short amount of time. He's heading over to Michigan, training with his buddy. We're still waiting on the contract. Some people are not scared. Brock Boeser, he is not scared. For Benning, he's been saying the entire time he is okay. He is confident. He thinks it's going to get done. But is it really going to get done in the way that we want it to? I hope so, but do you hope so as well? Let me know in the comments. What are your thoughts about that? Petey, Hughes, when do they sign? Do they sign before the season starts? Do they find themselves in training camp? Talk to me in the comments what your opinions are. I hope you enjoyed this video. Rosén99. And bye.